In this video, we are going to build a real-time semantic search application, the kind of search where results change as you type. Not based on keywords, but on meaning. You will see how to run Qdrant using Docker, create a vector collection, load around 20,000 embeddings, and then wire everything together using Flask, FastEmbed, and a simple HTML plus JavaScript frontend. We will build the complete pipeline from generating embeddings, querying Qdrant, to rendering live results on every keystroke in the browser. This is the exact foundation you need for RAG systems, AI search, and modern LLM-based applications. By the end of this video, you will have a working search as you type semantic search app running locally on your machine. Let's get started. So we will be following this plan throughout the video to help us create this whole application. Without further ado, let's get started. The first step is to set up Qdrant. To do that, we need to pull the Qdrant image and run the Qdrant image and explore the dashboard. Let's do that really quickly. I'll open a terminal, and since my terminal is opened, I would also like to open the Docker's daemon, and that Docker daemon is essentially going to allow us to pull images and have the communication between the Docker and the Docker daemon. Okay, so now that our Docker daemon is not open right now, one second. From here I can go to Docker dashboard. Okay, so I can see I don't have any image and or container running, so I will be doing that in a moment. So what I need to do is I need to pull Docker pull Qdrant. Okay, I will run and I will allow this communication to happen. Now after this command, what will happen is it will pull all the layers of this image, and the next step would be, if we go into our plan, would be run the Qdrant image and explore the dashboard. We'll see what exactly I'm talking about here. Okay, so our Docker image has been pulled. So let's quickly inspect what all images are there. So I've got this Qdrant slash Qdrant. Now I need to run it. So to run it, I can do something like Docker run and the name of the image. I should also expose ports. Okay, so I'll expose the ports like this. So there will be 2 ports that needs to be exposed to run Qdrant on our system. And finally, I would like to write the name of the, so it will spin up a new container, and I would also like to run it in detached mode so that I don't see logs here. So if I run this, our Docker has successfully, our Docker container is successfully running now. I can go inside here and I can check my local host 633. I can see vector search engine, it's working. But to navigate to the dashboard, I can come here and I can look at the collections and all. So essentially this step completes our pull the Qdrant image and run the Qdrant image. Now let's explore the dashboard. The dashboard is a really, you can say, professional looking dashboard, and they have taken care of the needs of anyone who is pulling this image and running this container, as container, because you can see you don't need to do any changes to the UI part. Okay, the one thing which I would like to take your attention to is this dataset section, because this is what we are going to use, and in particular we will be using this Qdrant web documentation. So this dataset is about 145 megabyte long, and it has about 20,000 vectors, and all the vectors are basically of size 384, and they are coming from this model. Okay, now if I click on this, it asks me that where would I like to import this dataset. So I need to name the collection where I want to basically take this web documentation and put it inside that collection. Which would be the collection name? That is what I need to write here. Okay, so let's see. Let's write it as Qdrant web documentation. And I will click on import dataset. Now it will, you can see it's loading. It will take some 1 minute, close to 1 minute. Meanwhile, let's go back to our plan. And in this plan, we can see we have completed this setup. And now we are loading the Qdrant documents into Qdrant and explore the data. But let this import first complete, and then we will be exploring the data. In particular, we will be looking at the structure in which they are appearing and how we can basically interface with it within the dashboard. So you can see snapshot successfully imported. So I can dismiss it, and now I can navigate to collection, and I can see Qdrant web documentation is live. Now if I click on it, you will see all these points appearing. In Qdrant terminology, all vectors are essentially known as points, and point is, you can say, is an encapsulation of a vector with its metadata. So you can see I have got vectors and I have got payload, and this payload contains all the details such as what is a text for which this vector embedding is. So for example, text is this, and we have got titles. Okay, we have got sections. So essentially this entire data set has been created by you can say web scraping the Qdrant official documentation. So you can see you can explore all these points, and you can load more points from here. And I would like to talk about some of the features that Qdrant comes with, and in particular I would like to talk about this open graph feature. So if I click on open graph, I can see what happens is the moment I click on open graph here, it will find all the points which are near to this point, and it will connect them like this. And now what I can do is I can hover over it, and if you notice on the right, points are changing. So this point is point 0. This is the central point that we clicked from here, and when we open the graph, it connects to all the points that it is closest to. So you can see this is having text as home, and if I open the graph, all the related point also have the text as home. Okay, so let's click on any of this. So if I click on any of this, it will take me to some other points. I can click on more, and it will keep expanding the connection. So you can see it has become something like this. Now we are not able to find more points, because in this whole collection there will be how many 7 points with the text home. Now let's explore some other points. So for example, if I have to explore this rag is dead, LLMs are getting more accurate, and things like that. If I open the graph, you see LLMs are getting more accurate. Now let's see which points are closer. So the importance of evaluation, I'm looking at this section right here. Okay, so I hope it is making sense. Now if I go back, I can similarly explore like this, and in fact I can find similar to it. So if I click on find similar, so you see similar to ID1, these are the points. Okay, and I can load more similar to it. So this is how similarity works. So this point is the most similar point to the ID1. The reason this similarity is working blazingly fast because of optimized algorithms such as HNSW, which we won't go into the depth in this video. So what we can do is we can now go back to our plan now. So now our first and second step is completed. So we have set up the Qdrant, we have loaded the Qdrant documents and explored the data a bit. Okay, now we will be setting up a function which takes the query and returns the matches. Now this function is what we are going to hook up in our web application. So before I do any of that, I would like to set up my environment. Okay, so I'll create a virtual environment here, Python M. I will call this when module, which is supported by Python. It comes pre-built, so I don't need to install anything. So Python M when dot when. So if I run this, it will create this .venv folder. Now I can activate it. Source dot when bin activate. And if you are on Windows, you might have to do something known as scripts. Okay. So after this, I want to install two packages. First is Qdrant client. Now this Qdrant client package will allow me to talk to this hosted service on localhost 633, because this uh, endpoint also exposes a lot of API endpoints which we don't have to interface with directly, because this package makes it really easy. So I can basically install this library, and there is one more library that I would need, is that is going to be FastEmbed. So if I run this, it will take a couple of seconds or minutes, and then after this, let's create a script called I will call this script as Qdrant demo.py. Okay, so now what we need to do is, we need to first of all connect to the Qdrant client. So what I'll do is, I will import from Qdrant, from Qdrant client, import Qdrant client, and then I can create a client object, and inside here I can in the Qdrant client I can write the host. Host would be my local host, because I want to talk to the local host, and I think I need to also pass the port. Port will be 633, or I don't need to wrap it in quotes. Okay, so first thing first, let's try to get all the collections. And since currently my Visual Studio Code interpreter is not picking up my virtual environment, I can come here and I can maybe auto detect. So auto detect is working, but let's see why it is not picking up. So I think I need to use this. Okay, so now it is working. So client dot get collection. Now let's run this script to see how does it look like. It should talk to my server, and it should be able to basically pull up all the collections which are there. So you can see Qdrant web documentation. This is the collection that I created. Okay, makes sense. So now that we are able to connect to the client, now we will be writing this function which takes up a query and returns the matches. So the idea is that I want to be able to search in the Qdrant web documentation, and I want to retrieve the most similar matches to my query. First thing that I need to do to be able to do that is I need to take my query and embed it. To embed it, what we will be doing is, we will be using FastEmbed package. Now this package has a very tight support, good support with Qdrant, because Qdrant also under the hood uses FastEmbed. As we saw when we navigated to in the dataset, that this particular model has been this particular dataset has been created using this embedding model. We'll be using that. So let's first of all try to see. From FastEmbed, I would like to import text embedding, and I'll create a embedding class by specifying the model name. Now I can go ahead and copy this name here, but it will not work like this, because under the hood this FastEmbed uses something known as sentence transformer. Sentence transformer is yet another library for computing embedding. So what we can do is, we can append in front of it the sentence transformers. Okay, so sentence transformers and this model. Now if we run it, if you are running this command for the first time on your computer, it will go ahead and pull up this model, and then it will try to pull up it. And if let's say you are running it multiple times, it will use the cached version. So essentially there is a mechanism of caching involved here. So let's try to run it, and if it is not able to find the model, it will just throw the error that this particular model name is not identified by the FastEmbed. So if I run this, you see we are able to run it, right? Now let's try to embed some query. So I'll say what is rag. What is rag? So I'll try to do embedding dot embed query, and since we need documents, documents could be a string or iteratable of a string. So I'll pass a list of query, and let's try to print what do we get. So here, if I run this, so we are getting a generator object. Now how can I basically get its embedding? So I need to probably wrap this up in a list cluster. Yeah, we can see that I'm able to get and now this is a list of array, which means since I pass this as a list of query, that is why it is returning a list of array. Now we are able to basically get the embeddings. So now what I will do is I'll start creating the function. This function will be called as search maybe, and then in the search I will take the argument as query. Okay, so in the search function, what we will do is first thing first, we will get the embedding of query. So I will use this knowledge. Query embedding would be embedding dot embed query, and then I'll wrap this up in list, and here I can get the first entry, which means it gives me the query embedding. So for now, let's uh, keep this function here only. Now what I want to do is I want to see how can I take this query and I can get the search. Essentially, I want to search the collection. So how can I do that? Currently, I'm searching it by coming here, and I can do something like find similar, and I can get similar points given a query point. Okay, so that level of behavior I want to simulate here. So let's come here and let's keep on testing this functionality that we are implementing here. So I will write it here and I'll try to print the query embedding for now. So we can see we are getting the query embedding correctly. Now what we need to do is we need to basically see how do we get the results. So I can say something like search results equal to I will call the query points function. Now this query point function will take first argument as collection name. Now collection name would be Qdrant web documentation, and then I would like to pass the query, and query could be either a point, a vector, a list of vector, a list of float. So what we want to pass is we want to pass a list of float, which means a query embedding. Okay, and then we can optionally pass the limit argument. Limit will limit the results that you can receive from the search. Okay, so I will limit it to 5. Let's try to print the search results for now. It won't print it because it will be essentially a generator again. Oh, okay, it's printing collections. Okay, so we are getting search results as, you can say, let's check the type of search results. Let's check the type of search results and also see if we can call the length method on it. Okay, so it has no length and the type is query response. Okay, all right. So now let's try to print let's try to loop through it. So for results in search results, print type of results. Okay, so it's a tuple. So it's essentially in search results there will be a tuple. Now what will be the tuple? Let's check the length of this tuple. Okay, so we have got two basically you can say two things in the tuple. So what I can do is from this tuple I can get its first entry and try to, so basically I'm inspecting it. So the way you read a documentation and see the kind of data structures that you are getting, so I'm just inspecting it. I'll comment out any other print statement so that I can clearly see what's going on. So you can see the first entry is this thing called points, and the second entry is this thing called list. So now this is what we need. Okay, so we need this thing over here, which is essentially a list of scored points. So this is what I need. So what I can do is I can do something like results, and this results will be a list of dictionary. So we are creating our own dictionary, and we'll be populating this results list. Okay, so what I can do is I can do something like scored points is equal to, I can consume the second entry, and then since the scored points will be a list, so for point in scored points I can get my results and I can append to it. So there are some things that I can extract from this point. So I can get the ID of the point. So I'll say point dot ID. I can get the score, like score would tell me how close the point is to the query. So I can call the point dot score, and then finally after scoring the actual text of the point dot text. Let's see, after this is done, let's see how the results look like. And let's clear the terminal and let me run it again. Okay, it has no attribute because we need to get it from payload. Let's run it again. Dictionary attribute has, oh okay, because we need to use the get. Okay, so now finally it should work now. Okay, so you can see we are getting this beautiful list, and this list has ID, score, and text. Okay, so now what we can do is we can take all of this understanding into this function, the final function that we will be creating. So let me uncomment this first. So I have got query embedding. After we have the query embedding, we want to call this function here. This search result function will take collection name, query embedding, and the limit, and we will get the search results. And then after that I can cut this also, and I will get my results and I'll return the results. Okay, so now I have this reusable function which I can call as many times as I want. Now this search should also take a number of results that I want to get, and this number of results will come from argument. Now let me get rid of all of this. So now I have this reusable function, and that was the objective of this step, that is set up a function which takes the query and returns the matches. Now let's test it out a bunch of times so that we are satisfied with its performance. So what is rag? First thing, and then I would like to call it maybe a couple of times. Sorry. Okay. Second time I would like to say something like installation, and third time will be a some simple greeting. Okay, and each time I need to wrap it up in print also because they are just returning it. what is happening here. Okay. Okay. So now I can test it out by running. So let's clear it. Okay. So first query was what is RAG, and we can see we are getting results related to RAG. Second was installation, and we can see we are getting results related to installation. Third was welcome, and we can see we are getting results related to welcome and greeting related things. Okay. All right. So now our third step is done. Now let's move on to this last step, and that would be set up the Flask application. And this Flask application will be utilizing the function which we set up just now. Okay. Okay. So what we can do is we can quickly start creating the Flask app. So I will start with very basic Flask app, and then I'll increase it in complexity. So what we can do is first thing first, let's install Flask. Okay, Flask is installed, and let's quickly set up a very simplistic app. And this app would basically render a template, and inside it I will create a index.html. And index.html, let me quickly create a boilerplate using this emmet abbreviation. Now this, the way, if you are not familiar with it, you basically print out this character and then hit tab, and you will get this boilerplate ready. Okay. Now this uh, uh, this template, this thing you should not worry about much, because the only idea of this video is that to have your fundamentals strong, you want to clearly understand what's going on in backend when search is happening. So this HTML is not going to be that big of a issue. You can simply go ahead and copy paste these templates from ChatGPT or any other online documentations. Okay, so Qdrant search, Qdrant doc search. I can name this as Qdrant doc search. Okay, and I can maybe have a h1, and I can also have a input of type text, and then after that I will have a div which will have a results section. Okay, now in the h1 I will have the title, Qdrant doc search tool, and in here the Qdrant doc search tool, and in here I can do something like query. So I will be entering my query here, and then here I don't want to do, because all these things I will be updating from JavaScript. So now that we have the index.html, let's set up the Flask app. So I will import Flask, and I'll create a Flask app instance by passing the name, and create a route, app.route, home route. Let's use simple get methods here, or I think I should also add not required, I feel. So get method is fine, and then I will call it as home, and I'll return. I will be calling a render template method here. Now render template method has to be imported. Inside this I can name the file that I defined in the templates directory, and then finally I need to run it. So if name is equal to main, I'll run app.run debug is equal to true for now. In production, obviously we don't want to do that. So I'll say python app.py. Now our app is running. It's running on 5000 port, and we have to make sure that the ports that you run your Flask app on is not interfering with the port that is already in use. Maybe your Qdrant is running on a port and then you use the same port while running the Flask, that would not be allowed. Okay, so localhost 5000. Why it is denied? Because I am need to. Okay, so Qdrant doc search, and I can search here. Now let me also come here in the index.html, and here before the input type your query here. Okay, all right. So if I refresh it, type your query here. Now results should appear in the div section, which are not populated for now. So after we are basically done with this, what I want to do is I want to set up a post method here. I want to create a root, and it will only take post methods. So I'll have a post method here, and this method, what it will do is it will do actual searching. Okay, now the way it will search is, what I'll do is I'll for now just return let's return only simple string, simple post request, and come here and I'll grab this function. This function will be utilized here, so I will put it here. Now this function needs client and embedding, right? So I will also grab these two things from here. Okay, so now our client and embedding both are, and they will be required only on the first run, and when your application is running, they will always be in memory. So you will have to think about how better to load these classes. I won't go into that in this video, but for now we are just loading it in memory, and we are loading it in the same server script. Okay, all right. So now what we want to do is, here in the search, what we want to do is, since this will be a post request, this will have a JSON when this endpoint will be hit. So we will be extracting the data first. So I can say something like request, but for that I need to import request from Flask, and this request will have the data construct. So I will have request.json, and I can call something like if data. I will try to extract query from this data.get query, and if I have a query, I will call this on search, and I'll pass the query, and this will give me results. And what I'll do is, in the results, what I want to do is I want to return this results. Okay, so there are a couple of ways with which you can return results. You can either return them by using a function called JSONify, or by default, if you just return a dictionary like this, it will be automatically converted in JSON by Flask. Okay, so you don't need to necessarily call it, but it's a good idea to be explicit. So we can wrap this up in JSON. So if data is there, then query will be extracted. Now what if data is not there? Okay, if data is not there, I would like to return JSONify error, and I would like to send a message, maybe something like no JSON passed. Okay, and I would like to send a 404 error. And suppose if you have the data but query is not there, then what we will do is, else we will send a similar message. Control C. No query in the JSON. Although we could have done more better things like try and accept block, but let's try it out and let's see if you are able to visualize it clearly. So now that we have our API ready, let's first of all run this app and let's open a new shell, and I would like to curl in this method. So localhost, not localhost, sorry, I need to get this, and here I will call this search endpoint, and in the search endpoint I can pass the headers. In the headers what I can do is I can write something like content type content type application JSON, and let's run it and let's see what do we get. So it says 405 unsupported media type. What our API is returning? It is also returning 415. Why? Because we are not passing JSON. Let's try to pass the data here, and in data for now I will pass something like query, and here I will pass maybe something like what is rag. Okay, it says unsupported media type did not attempt to load because the request content type was not application JSON, but we did pass application JSON. What's going on? Application JSON. So we have we are calling this as application JSON. Okay, I think I got because we are not calling it correctly. Let's correct that out. Okay, so we are calling this X post, and why this error is coming? Let me do one thing. Let me, in place of data, let's comment out all of this for now, and here let's for now print the request dot data. Okay, and let's run this again. It says the view function did not return a valid response. Let's return hey for now. Okay, so we are returning here. Okay, so request.data is being print. Okay, so we are not sending anything. So it is not simply accepting the data. Why is that so? Let me do one thing. Let me copy this curl command and let me paste it right here. Or maybe help. Let me ask ChatGPT what's going on. What is wrong with this command? What exactly is happening? It expects a single header string in the, oh, I see. Not the JSON, but like this. Oh, okay, got it. So what happened was we were sending it as JSON, but we had to send it like this. Content type application JSON. So if I run this now, if I try to just uncomment these blocks that we were using earlier, and let's run this now, but search takes 0 positional argument. Oh, okay, we should have called it something else. Search query and then search query. Okay, so now I think we should be getting the results. Okay, so we are getting the results. So basically, what is RAG? When we send this request, what is RAG? We are getting results like this. Okay, so now that we are getting the results correctly, what we can do is we can go ahead and start implementing the front end. So this API is working right. Okay, so how are we going to basically use this API in our front end? So in our front end, what we will do is, in this input, we will create a handler called onInput. And onInput will take a handle input function. This handle input we are going to define here. Okay, let's define a handle input function. And this handle input, for now, let's say this function returns, this function only prints what we are passing as the input. So handle input will just print the event. So this function essentially takes a event as the argument. So what we can do is we can take the event dot target dot value. So whatever we are printing, we will be able to see it in our browser console. So let's see if we can inspect it and see it working in action. So hi, so we can see hi there. So we can see whatever we are inputting, that result is appearing. Now on this input, so what I'll do is I'll save this in query variable. I'll take event.target.value and I'll save it in the query variable. Now what I want to do is I want to take this query and I want to make a fetch call. I want to create a fetch call. Now this fetch call will be made where? It will be made in the search endpoint. So we have defined the search endpoint. So let's define the search endpoint, and after this search endpoint will take some arguments such as method. What will be our method? Method will be post. What will be the headers? Headers will be content type, will be application JSON, and what will be body? Body will be JSON dot stringify, and in the JSON I want to pass the query. Okay, so query will be query. Okay, now after this fetch basically returns the results, I want to write a then block here, and then we'll just take the response and get its response.json. Okay, and then I will hook another then block, not here but here, and this will get the result. And for now, let's console.log the results. Okay, so just to explain you what's happening here, we are hitting the search endpoint, we are making a post request, and we are sending the headers as we send the header while making the curl request using the terminal. We are sending the data in the form of body, and then we are getting the JSON response because our API is returning a JSON, and we are printing the result. Okay, so let's see it in action. Now if I type anything here, I see the result here. So if I type rag will be appearing in this result. So you see ID, score, and text. I can get maybe installation related guideline. So installation. So in the installation, I'm getting these results. Okay, so now our API and this integration is working correctly. Okay, yeah. So what is the next step? The next step also, I think I would like to also do one thing. If there is query, then only I want to do this. Okay, so let me cut all this out. Okay, and let's see. Okay. Okay, yeah. So earlier, if you noticed, when I was deleting the already returned response, and when it became empty, it was firing up this API, and there it was failing somehow. Okay. So after this step, what we need to do is I think I should also try out when I'm writing the query as wrong. Let me refresh. You see, 404, and the response is no query in the JSON. Okay. Yeah. So our API is working. Now the only final step that is left for us to do is basically populating this div. How are we going to do that? Let's see. In the results, we are getting the results. Now result is essentially let's refresh it and let's see. Yeah. Result is essentially a JSON with results key, and results key is essentially an array of results. Okay. So I want to effectively inject that into this div. Okay. Now the way we can do that is, right now I'm console logging this results. I won't be doing that anymore. I'll just create a code block here. Okay. And I will first of all get this div right here. Okay. So what I'll do is const, I'll get results div, which will be document dot get element by ID results, and this results div dot inner HTML I can basically add. Now what exactly do I have to add? So I'll get my results. This result has a key called results, right? And that result is an array. What I want to do is I want to map this result to something. Each of these result entry is a JSON with these entries with these keys such as ID, score, and text. What I want to do is I want to start a backtick string, and in here let's create a paragraph. Okay. For now, let's create a paragraph, very simple paragraph, and then I can embed variables. I can embed the variables from basically from this result. And what I want to do is I want to basically get each entry. So I can call it as record. I can call it as record, and in here I can say record.id, and then I can copy this record.score, and finally record.text. Okay. After this, so essentially what it will do is it will take my results div, it will write its inner HTML, it will take its result and get the array, and it will map all the elements of the array to this paragraph tag. And paragraph is essentially going to be, now you could argue that paragraph is not the appropriate HTML tag for this, but you can change it, right? Because this does not matter. The objective of this video was to show you the functionality of the backend API and how it can be integrated using Qdrant and FastEmbed. Okay, so now let's try it out. Okay, so we are currently just appending it. So there is no mechanism of, so if I just remove this append, let's try it out. Right. So now it is changing it in real time, right? What is Qdrant? Okay, so what is Qdrant? So now, although visually it's not looking very nice, but this is a really wonderful tool. You can get paid really handsome amount to do this kind of stuff. You see, you have created a real-time search engine which basically looks at the Qdrant documentation, and in real time, if let's say anybody who is trying to search the appropriate article in the Qdrant documentation or in any another documentation that you wish to basically create search on, this is going to work fine for that as well. So what is Qdrant? I can get the article. Okay, how to basically install. Okay, so we get all these installation articles. Okay, all right. So now after this, what is the one thing that is left here? I feel the only thing that is left here is style aspect. I feel that part, what we can do is I can just copy this HTML and I can come here and I can ask ChatGPT that style this HTML page without any external CSS file, using inline style only. Using inline style only. Don't change any other functionality. Only style has to be changed. So it will now just take our page and it will just include this style syntax, and that style should make our page look really cool. Okay, so let's grab this and let's because I don't trust the ChatGPT's code, what I would do is I will keep the working code as commented out, and I'll just paste the ChatGPT's code. And now if I refresh it, so we are getting this little tool, which is Qdrant doc search tool. Now type the query. Let's type the query rag, and you see it has become a really sophisticated tool. Okay, you can create a simple POCs and demonstrations and showcase to your bosses or whoever you want to showcase it to. Okay, so rag, and then we can search for installation as we were doing earlier. Okay, all right. So I think that would be it for this video, and I hope you found it really interesting. And if you think there could be something that could be improved, please let me know. And also if you think I can cover something else in my future videos, let me know in that case too. Subscribe for more such contents, and let me know in the comments um, if there was some typo, there was something that I missed covering in this video. Thank you.